Using individualized application as a learning activity. This is part 9 in the Teaching Methods series. I'm Dr. Grady Roberts from the University of Florida. This presentation will be guided by 3 essential questions. The first, what types of individualized application can be used in the classroom? The second, why should I use individualized application? And the third, how do you effectively use individualized application? We'll first refer back to our taxonomy of learning activities that we introduced in an earlier part of this series. If you notice, individualized application is on the far right-hand side of the model underneath the student-centered activities. If we look at the interactions that occur for this type of learning activity, we notice that a double arrow connecting students indicating interaction between the students, and we notice broken double arrows connecting the teacher and the students indicating some level of interaction with the teacher, but not quite as much as with the other students. If we look down below under autonomy in the learning environment, we notice that there is a considerable amount of control for the students and a little bit of control for the teacher. Looking at Dale's cone of experience, depending on how we elect to implement individualized application, a wide variety of different things can happen. However, in practice with individualized application, we have the students either doing the real thing or simulating the real thing, and so it tends to be more concrete. Examining learning modalities with individualized application can appeal to visual, auditory, and kinesthetic learners depending on the nature of the activities that we choose to implement. Some of the pros or advantages in individualized application is that it promotes student responsibility, provides opportunities for critical thinking amongst the students, allows students to express individuality, allows students to independently inquire into a subject. It's incredibly learner-centered, and it really enhances self-regulated learning. Some of the cons: it can be challenging for the instructor to monitor all the students and to individually supervise all the students. It does require enough resources for every student, and that can be a limitation in some environments. Grading can be time-consuming, and some students may monopolize all your time as the instructor. They might tend to have express more needs and thus try to take more of your time and thus limit you from interacting with the other students. There are multiple ways that we might actually use individualized application. We might conduct an independent study, where we might let students conduct an independent study. We might let students conduct experiments. We might use notebooks or worksheets. We might use skill practice. We might use projects. All different ways that we can have students individually applying what they've learned. The purposes of individual application can vary greatly depending on how you choose to use them. We can use individualized application as a way to have students learn a new concept. We can use it to let them practice or apply a skill that we've already taught them, or we can let them explore a concept on their own at their own pace. One of the things to consider with individualized application is the notion of homogeneity. Do we want all the students doing the same thing at the same time, or do we want to let students have individualized assignments? There's not a correct answer to this. It really depends on your actual goals for the learning activity. Sometimes you might want all the students doing the same thing. Sometimes you might want to let students do their own thing. So some of the steps that we might want to consider and implement as we're preparing to use individualized application. Before the class session, make sure you have all your materials assembled. During the class session, give clear objectives or goals for that class session. Give clear instructions. Circulate to monitor the progress that students are having, and then to assess learning during and at the end of the class session. When assessing learning with individualized application, we can either choose to assess the process or the product or both. If we're going to assess the process, we want to know, did students correctly follow the process that we outlined? If we taught them how to do something, did they do that correctly? In that case, we might want to actually watch them and observe them throughout the process. We could also choose to assess the product. Were students able to create something that meets your minimum requirements? If this is the case, then we probably want to let them do their thing, and then when they are finished, then we will use the product they created to assess their learning. Either way, rubrics can provide an effective way of assessing learning. So some key points to remember. Individualized application provides opportunities for individualized learning. Individualized application promotes critical thinking and self-regulated learning. And it's important to give students a clear objective and clear instructions on what your expectations are. So our essential questions were: what types of individualized application can be used in the classroom? Why should I use individualized application? And how do you effectively use individualized application? We hit on all these questions, and hopefully now you're ready to start using individualized application as another tool in your teaching toolbox. If you'd like additional information on this topic, here's my contact information. Feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call. Thanks, and have a great day.